रिवाज कीजिए। नेक्स्ट सेकेंड कंपटीशन। When dash dash spoke of the struggle for existence and survival of the fittest in nature, he was convinced that dash dash is a potent force in organic evolution. यह जनरली बिलीव्ड किया जाता है कि कंपटीशन अक्यूर होता है व्हेन क्लोजली रिलेटेड स्पीसीज compete for the same resources that are limiting, but this is not entirely true. Are you agree with this line? Firstly, totally unrelated species could also compete for the same resource. For instance, in some shallow South American lakes, visiting dash dash and dash dash compete for their common food, the zooplankton in the lake. Second, resources need to be limiting for dash dash to occur in interference competition. The feeding efficiency of one species might be dash dash due to interfering the inhibitory presence of the other species, even if resources, that is food and space, are abundant. Therefore, dash dash is best defined as a process in which the fitness of one species, measured in terms of its dash dash, the intrinsic rate of increase is significantly lower in the presence of another species. It is relatively easy to demonstrate in a laboratory experiment, as dash dash and other experimental ecologists did when resources are limited. The competitively superior species will eventually dash dash the other species, but evidence for such competitive exclusion occurring in nature is not always conclusive. A strong and dash dash evidence does exist, however, in some cases. The dash dash in Galapagos islands become extinct within a decade after goats were introduced in sorry on the island, apparently due to the greater browsing efficiency of the goats. Another evidence for the occurrence of dash dash in nature comes from what is called dash dash. A species whose distribution is restricted to a small dash dash area because of the presence of the competitively superior species is found to expand its dash dash range dramatically when the competing species is experimentally removed. Dash dash field experiments showed that on the rocky sea coasts of dash dash, the larger and competitively superior dash dash dominates the intertidal area. The excludes the dash dash from that zone. In general, dash dash and plants appear to be more adversely affected by competition than dash dash. डैश डैश competitive जी हाँ competitive exclusion principle states that the two dash dash species competing for the same resources cannot coexist indefinitely, and the dash dash one will be eliminated eventually. This may be true if resources are limiting but not otherwise. More recent studies do not support such gross generalizations about competition. While they do not rule out the occurrence of dash competition in nature, they point out that species facing competition might evolve mechanisms that promote coexistence rather than exclusion. One such mechanism is dash dash. If two species compete for the same resource, they could avoid competition by choosing, for instance, different times for dash dash or dash dash patterns. MacArthur showed that five closely related species of dash dash living on the same tree were able to avoid competition and coexist due to dash dash in their foraging activities. रिवाइज कीजिए थर्ड parasitism को. Considering that the dash dash mode of life ensures free lodging and dash dash, it is not surprising that dash dash has evolved in so many taxonomic groups from plants to higher vertebrates. बहुत से parasites have evolved to be dash dash. They can parasitize, parasites only a single species of host in such a way that both dash dash and the dash dash tend to co-evolve. That is, if the host evolves special mechanisms for rejecting or resisting the parasite has to evolve dash dash to dash dash and neutralize them in order to be stressful with the some host species. In accordance with their lifestyles, dash dash evolved special adaptations such as the loss of unnecessary dash dash, presence of dash dash or suckers to killing on to the host, loss of dash dash system, and high dash dash. The life cycles of dash dash are often complex, involving one or two intermediate hosts or vectors to facilitate dash dash of its primary host. The human dash dash, a dash dash depends on two intermediate hosts, a dash dash and dash dash to complete its life cycle. The malarial parasite needs a dash dash to spread to other hosts. Dash dash parasites harm the host. They may reduce the survival, growth, and reproduction of the dash dash and dash dash. They might render the host more dash dash by making it physically weak. Do you believe that an ideal parasite should be able to dash dash the host without harming it? Or full question. Do you believe that an ideal parasite should be able to thrive within the host without harming it? Then why did not natural sorry then why did not natural selections lead to the evolution of such totally harmless parasites? Dash that feed on the external surface of the host organism are called ectoparasites. The most familiar example of this group are the lice on humans and ticks on dogs. Many dash fish are infested with dash a parasitic plant that is commonly found growing in heads plants has lost its chlorophyll and lives in the course of dash. It derives its dash from the host plant which it dash. The female mosquito is not considered a dash, although it needs our blood for reproduction. Can you explain why? In contrast, dash are those that live inside the host body at different sites. That is comma comma red blood cells, etc. The life cycles of dash are more complex because of their extreme specialization. The dash features are greatly simplified while emphasizing their reproductive potential. Dash in birds is a fascinating example of parasitism in which the parasitic bird lays its eggs in the nest of its host and lets the host incubate them. During the course of evolution, the eggs of the dash have evolved to resemble the host's egg in size and color to reduce the chances of the host birds detecting the dash and ejecting them from the next the nest. एक्चुअली होता क्या है ना, जो ये माइक है ना, ये मेरे होंठ के थोड़ा सा ऊपर है, तो यही कभी कभी डिस्टर्ब करता है, तो प्रोनाउंसिएशन थोड़ा सा गलत हो जाता है, तो उसको इग्नोर करना यार. Try to follow the movements of that is quail and the crow in our park during the breeding season, that is and watch brood parasitism in action.